I want to show you a video that I just came across where the person says, prepare your hearts to worship. And then they also put in scare quotes, venerate Tiny Mary. Wait till the end for the full effect of the hyperdulia, they say. So, in other words, the person who's posting this is likely Protestant and they're criticizing this veneration of the Virgin Mary. And I want to show this video to you and ask the question, is this veneration or is this idolatry? And regardless of what which one of your answers that you would offer in the comment section, be sure to put it there. Regardless of what the answer is, tell me what your position for it is. And then I'm briefly going to talk about what some of the difficulties involved here are in identifying whether or not this is actual Marian worship. So let me go ahead and share my screen. Let me make sure that you can hear the audio. It's only about a minute long, so it's pretty short. Let's watch it together. So here you can see her holding a small image of the Virgin Mary. All right, now this lady seems to be bringing in a procession, a crown for the Virgin Mary. Now they're placing the crown on her head. Then they're placing a rosary in front of her. There's some deal with rose petals here. I don't know what's going on there. A bunch of little kids dressed as angels, which is not a biblically accurate description of angels, to say the least. Now they're walking the image of the Virgin Mary through the aisle in procession. Okay. All right. So then the question is, okay, is that idolatry? So some people are going to say, well, if there's an image there, it's already idolatry. But of course, you have to keep in mind that an image alone is not automatically idolatry because you find in the Old Testament, God, right after prohibiting the worship of idols, commands the Israelites to create an image, actually two images of angels, and place them in the Holy of Holies. So you have two large statues of angels placed in the most sacred place in the tabernacle and later on temple, right after the prohibition against idols. So that clearly tells you, okay, this is not a prohibition against images per se, it's a prohibition against worshiping the images. So you can't just say, well, hey, it's an image of the Virgin Mary, that's idolatry. Well, no, you got to go deeper than that. Well, some might say, well, it looks to me like they're venerating her. They're somehow venerating this image. But then, of course, the common response often is made, well, you might have a picture of your mother who passed away and you might kiss that image. That doesn't mean that you're somehow worshiping it. You're rather venerating the memory of your mother who has passed away. So there's now a distinction between worship of an image versus veneration of an image. So then you have to ask the question, okay, well, what's taking place here? Is it worship or veneration? And I think the difficulty involved is any particular gesture that you point to, I can show you biblical examples of where that gesture is found in scripture and is not considered to be a form of worship. So if you say, well, somebody bowed to this image, okay, I can show you instances where people bow to something and it's not considered worship. Even more difficult, you have instances of the prophet Elisha actually allowing a person to bow to the image of a pagan idol. oddly enough. But you get the point. There are other instances where, for instance, Abraham bows to people that clearly is not worship. So bowing in and of itself doesn't mean worship. So bowing to an image doesn't necessarily mean worship according to the biblical paradigm. So what would make this worship as opposed to veneration? I think when you really look through all of the options, there's no particular physical gesture aside from perhaps offering sacrifice. It seems like if you have an offering of sacrifice to something other than God, that is idolatry. Now, obviously, that's not taking place here. So, barring that physical gesture of offering sacrifice, it would appear that idolatry would be something that is in the intention of the heart. So if people intend to venerate the Virgin Mary, or rather to worship the Virgin Mary, that would be idolatry. But rather, if the intention is to merely venerate and not worship, that would not constitute idolatry according to the biblical paradigm. Now, hey, if I'm wrong about that, I want to hear from you. Show me why I'm wrong. Give me a biblical argument, though, for why I'm wrong based on what I just said. By the way, thank you so much for that super chat. TJ Bowman says, "Remember, we don't worship Mary; we worship statues of Mary." Laugh out loud. Just kidding. That's funny. I appreciate the joke. Uh, Matthew says, "Michael, laugh out loud. Not a biblically accurate depiction of angels. Michael has no chill." Well, you know, I'm just saying, like, where did this depiction of angels come from, right? Where does that come from? Because it's just clearly not what angels look like in Ezekiel 1, for instance. And so, where does that come from? I don't know. Still trying to figure that one out. All right, so Josh V says we don't know the person's heart. That's true. That's true. And so that's one of the difficulties in attributing idolatry to the people in that video. That's one of the difficulties is it does appear that the question of idolatry from a biblical paradigm boils down to one of intention. Short of offering sacrifice, it boils down to one of intention. And none of us can read the hearts or intentions of the people who are there. So I can't assert that any of them were guilty of idolatry. Might you criticize it on other grounds? Maybe, but I don't know about on the grounds of idolatry. But hey, if I'm wrong, I'd love to hear from y'all. Love to see why you think that that is worship and not, as they put in scare quotes, veneration. In fact, I'll share my screen just so you can see who said that. It was the same group that posted that Stephen Anderson stuff, Protestia. I guess that's a Protestant website because it seems like they're taking a very critical position of Catholicism here. So they say, prepare your hearts for worship, and they put it in funny font there. Venerate Tiny Mary. Wait to the end for the full effect of the hyperdulia, they say. Now, hyperdulia is not worship, of course, so they're probably speaking sarcastically here. Hyperdulia would be not worship. It's not in the category of latria. It's still in the category of veneration. But hyperdulia is something that is assigned to the Virgin Mary in Catholicism because she is the one who gave birth to the second person of the Trinity in the Incarnation. And so there's a unique place for her in Christianity. And for that reason, she's not given just veneration. She's given an extreme form, if you will, or not extreme, but the most veneration that can be given is given to her because of her role in the Incarnation. Anyways, I want to hear from y'all, so make sure to put your comments there in the comment section. I'd love to get your feedback. Of course, hit that like button and the subscribe button too. I would really, really appreciate it. For those of y'all just now tuning in, if you enjoy the content here on this channel, please do me a favor, hit that subscribe button because, I look at the statistics and I still see a lot of people watching the channel who have not hit the subscribe button. And I think what happens is people watch this show, they enjoy it, but most people don't think twice about hitting the sub button. That's why I'm asking you, hey, take a moment out to go ahead, hit that subscribe button, show me support for what I've been doing. Y'all know I work really hard. I put in a lot of time into these shows. I do at least one show a day. So a lot is involved, and then there's a lot of stuff behind the scenes. So if you want to support the channel, what I'm doing, especially financially, do consider supporting the channel by becoming a patron member at patreon.com/reason and theology. And you'll also get access to plenty of extra exclusive patron only content. So please do consider supporting the channel. Hey, thanks for watching that highlight clip. If you want to watch the full video, click on the link in the show notes. By the way, don't forget to hit that subscribe button. Also, if you want to support this channel, a great way to do it is patreon.com/reason and theology. You'll also get access to extra patron only content. Check it out now, patreon.com/reason and theology. God bless.